999ers risk their lives every day keeping us safe.
You're putting yourself out there to help other people at their most precious time of need.
But all too often, they're abused and attacked.
Their house is on fire and they're attacking us.
I was standing up with her hands around my throat.
These personal attacks on police, paramedics and firefighters are at an all-time high.
He's telling me, I'm going to kill your wife and I'm going to kill your family and I'm going to kill you.
Leaving them traumatised and unable to work.
How do you come to terms with knowing that you can't go and do the job that you love?
But while the violent criminals responsible are hunted down and brought to justice, our protectors fight to get well and back on the job.
We kept people safe, we put away the bad guys.
I'm not going to let some man ruin it for me. This is my future, this is what I enjoy doing.
Ready to face the next critical incident. Coming up, a police officer's career ends prematurely when he is the victim of not one, but two life-changing assaults.
The next memory I have is looking up and seeing awful people kicking me on the floor. I always lived with the fear of I could go to work and this could happen again.
And Kent Police tackle the growing drug problem in their county.
This is what we're dealing with every day. This is what's causing the misery.
With a specialist team out to track down a dealer at the top of the chain.
These sort of criminals have no reservation about injuring my officers. So I've got to do everything to protect my officers, and indeed protect the public, and take that county line drug dealer out completely.
These are the medications I have to take every day. They're a mixture of antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, and drugs for high blood pressure. So just take these. In total, I'm on 9 medications. I have to take that to maintain a normal function during the day. And that will be the same for the rest of my life.
Simon Mudge's dad was a police officer in the Met before transferring to Avon and Somerset. At the tender age of 17, Simon followed in his father's footsteps and joined the force, serving his community for 27 years.
This is what I call my police corner. So my service, my memorabilia, if you like. I've got my epaulets, which bore both my father's and my collar number. I joined the job wanting to catch all the baddies, stop all the violence, save all the children. I was the first one to get to a job, the last one to leave the neck. I enjoyed just wearing the uniform, to be honest with you. I loved it so much.
But one incident in 1997, early on in his career, changed Simon forever.
On this particular night, there was a report of 4 burglars that had broken into a shop. I run out the police station, run towards where they're supposed to be, and I see these 4 people. They're 4 well-known people who are well-known to me. One particularly violent towards police officers. So I thought, yeah, maybe me. I've got 2 years in, I'm invincible, I'm a police officer, I can do this. I went up to them and they were carrying property, so I arrested all 4 of them.
But the offenders quickly took advantage of the fact Simon was single-crewed.
I got punched in the face. I drew my baton and I struck the person who punched me on the kneecap, and I got punched from behind, so I was on the floor. And the next memory I have is looking up and seeing awful people kicking me on the floor, kicking into my rib cage. I came to just as help arrived. By only good fortune, my sergeant at the time came down the road and saw what was happening and called up for more units to attend. And they fled. I being quite angry, got up and chased after the person that punched me in the face. I managed to arrest him and get him cuffed. And then I walked back to where I was assaulted and just passed out on the floor. I was taken to hospital and had a broken rib and a broken jaw.
All 4 offenders were caught and arrested, but the outcome was not what Simon had hoped for.
I was told they were going to serve custodial sentences for what they did, but they didn't. I got to Bristol Crown Court and they got 200 hours community service and 2 years probation to a man, and they all walked out laughing. That incident was pivotal to my career. I always lived with the fear of I could go to work and this could happen again. But those who know me would never have guessed, because I was always, hey, smudger, go out, let's go out and nick someone, let's go out and do this, go out and do that. So people never knew, and I never discussed it. I was back out working, but I wasn't really there.
As Simon's career progressed, he attended more and more traumatising scenes, and his mental health deteriorated.
I was diagnosed in 1997 with post-traumatic stress disorder by a psychiatrist. I was very stroppy, very moody, not really pleasant to be around. I drank excessively to numb the pain. I did that for years until it became outrageous, and I just had to stop. I'm not proud of it, but that was a coping strategy. That's how I got through most days. But the demons come at night. When they come when you least expect them. I mean, I have nightmares pretty much every night of the scenes of carnage that I've had to deal with.
This was a world away from the enthusiastic young man who joined the police only 2 years previously.
I was a confident, larger than life, always taking a mickey. I'd always be there first, I'd always be there to back someone up.
But now, Simon was living a very different reality.
That incident was always at the back of my mind. This could happen again. This could happen again. This could happen again. And it did happen again.
Later, as Simon struggles to cope, another horrific incident pushes him to the limit.
I thought, that's it. This is where it ends. The only thing that I could think of was my unborn child. I thought, I'm never going to get to see her. So I just said goodbye.
After 35 years of fighting crime, it's safe to say that Kent Police Chief Constable Alan Pewsley has pretty much seen it all.
I never ever liked serious crime or serious criminals. I think they're bullies, I think they intimidate people in society, and therefore most of my career has been at that high-end criminality, whether that be murder, robbery, sexual offences, or indeed kidnap or contract killings. I've had a very varied career, but most of it is serious crime, and I guess complemented with a very important local policing.
One of the major problems Kent Police has to tackle is county lines. This is the term used when drugs are trafficked into rural areas, commonly using children and vulnerable adults as runners. The county line is the mobile phone number used to take drug orders.
The last figures tell us something like About a third of the county lines in London, identified by the National Crime Agency, come into Kent. It changes on a daily basis, but that's about 106 county lines, which is pretty significant. And we also have some county lines come in internationally as well, mainly Eastern Europe. And these people, they carry knives, they're very violent, and they would think nothing at all of assaulting an officer to get away or indeed carry out their criminal act. I ask my officers to deal with them. I ask my officers to stop them, to search them, to confront them and keep the public safe.
Once a month, Chief Constable Pewsley takes to the streets with a different team in his constabulary, so he can see for himself what's happening on the front line and the daily dangers his officers face.
It's incredibly important that all chief officers, so me now as the head, we don't forget why we joined the police. I didn't join to be a chief officer, I joined to be a police officer. I did 18, 19 years on the front line. I know what it was like to be out in the street. You can't pretend to understand that if you've not done it. And over the last 7 or 8 years in policing, that's been in the most difficult, challenging times ever, in my view, in 35 years of policing. And the delivery they've done here in Kent over that time, it's put us as one of the best forces in the land. They're doing incredible work, absolutely brilliant work.
Today, the Chief Constable is joining his dedicated county lines and gangs team. It's early morning and they've already picked up a local drug dealer on the streets of Gravesend.
So they're going to wait in the wholesale now for a bit.
Obviously, we've seen this guy on the street do a suspected drugs deal. We've brought him back for a strip search. Whilst we're doing the strip search, a Kinder Egg has fell out of his pocket. But you can see in there, we've got a quantity of heroin and crack cocaine. There's probably about 40, 50 deals there. You see we've got quite a quantity there. Obviously the white is going to be the crack cocaine, and you've got the brown or black, which is going to be the heroin. This is what we're dealing with every day, is stuff like this. This is what's causing the misery. You're looking at about £400 worth of Class A drugs off the streets of Kent. So yeah, I think it's a good result.
Really, really good stop. But this is a county line. You know, the work they're going to do now is trying to get up to who's supplying him. What's the next step up? Now we look to go upstream. So yeah, great stuff. Really good. Cool. Nice job.
The offender pleaded guilty to possessing heroin and crack cocaine with intent to supply. He was sentenced to 3 years and 2 months in prison. Coming up, the Chief Constable and his team hunt down a suspected county lines ringleader.
We go to the head of the county line, take the head off the snake, so to speak. That's what we're after today.
And Simon Mudge's mental health deteriorates.
I was in fight or flight all the time. There was never any rest.
But his family keep him strong.
As soon as my children came along, that put a new perspective on it. They saved me. It really did.
Emergency service workers are vulnerable to threats and abuse, even when they're not frontline workers. Shockingly, abusive calls to 999 call centres are on the rise, with call handlers reporting verbal abuse and threats as a regular feature of the job.
The ambulance is being arranged while we're speaking. It's being arranged while we're speaking. Give me the phone number. Give me the phone number. What phone number are you calling from?
The one I'm on. The one I'm on.
What is the phone number you're calling from?
No!
The ambulance is being arranged while we're speaking. Are you with her now?
Switchboard, I'm going to shoot you.
All I'm worried about is the patient.
The call handler remains calm, while the man who is calling about a friend shouts and swears 30 times during the 3-minute call. While in this shocking call to the South West Ambulance Service, a man threatens to kill a call handler for asking questions before sending out paramedics.
I haven't got time to answer your silly questions. No, I'm going to on your floor if you do not send an ambulance here. I'm telling you now, love, if you don't get someone out here to rescue... kid, I'm going to walk up the gun and set it on fire. Oh, I swear to God, mate, I'm going to stab you up.
I've tried to explain to you, we need to ask these questions.
Mate, send an ambulance now before I start taking things.
Does she have any high-risk complications, sir?
End of story.
You need to listen to me.
End of story.
Once again, the call handler remains calm throughout. This caller was taken to court and fined for the abuse. And it's not just abusive calls that are a problem. Unusual requests waste thousands of hours of call centre time and money.
Hello, you're through to the police.
I want to know the time.
Right, but you rang on 999, the emergency line, for the police.
I want to know the time.
Okay, the time's 4:45. I'm going to clear the line, okay?
Okay.
I only ordered one 7-line chip. They sent me 3 7-line chips.
The biscuit was out of date.
And in 2019, nearly a quarter of calls to the Welsh Ambulance Service were deemed not serious.
Ambulance service? Yeah, I'm having a very bad toothache right now, and I don't have any painkillers with me.
Ambulance service?
I shaved my bikini area on Saturday, but I find it very uncomfortable.
Ambulance, who'd ask for the emergency?
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Hello? They've just disconnected.
Calls like these can waste valuable time and prevent real emergencies being dealt with. In 1997, former police officer Simon Mudge was subjected to a horrific attack whilst apprehending 4 burglars on his own. The attack was so severe that it led to him being diagnosed with PTSD. But one person has helped Simon through some of his darkest days. His wife, Rowena.
Lily, come and have your hair done.
The couple met when Rowena joined the police in 2006.
You know where it is?
Good girl.
They've been married for 13 years and have 3 daughters together.
Chaotic.
Simon has always been a really warm and loving, particularly loyal person. And when I say loyal, I don't just mean to us as his family, I mean to the job that he joined as well. Whatever he sets his mind to, he's always been quite a loyal person. But yeah, just really friendly, warm, loving, a really good dad.
Look, darling.
When we first met, I had absolutely no idea that Simon had previously suffered with PTSD and just all the symptoms that come with that. He hid it really, really well. And in fact, like a lot of people with PTSD, he hid it for several years afterwards. I first became aware because I couldn't wake him up one morning and I couldn't understand why I couldn't wake him up. And I was naturally quite worried. And when I did wake him up, he told me that he'd been taking sleeping tablets because he couldn't sleep and he'd been having bad dreams. And that's how I first knew that he suffered with what I now know is PTSD, but I didn't know a lot about it at the time. I think PTSD's sort of been one of those conditions that was suffered in the background, behind closed doors, stiff upper lip, people just got on with it. So it was several years into our relationship when I really discovered that he suffered with it.
In 2003, Simon was subjected to yet another violent attack. This incident would change the course of his life forever.
Looking at it now, it's a nice place. People out enjoying themselves, walking with their dogs and what have you. You know, completely oblivious as to what happened here 17 years ago. But it's still very real for me. It was July 2003. My ex-wife was pregnant with my first child, Ella. It was a hot, sweaty, horrible day.
There was a music festival here, in the grounds of Ashton Court, a country estate in Bristol. Simon was in a unit of 5 PCs and a sergeant who were in a van patrolling the crowds.
There was obviously drinking, drug taking. What you had then was the tide was very definitely turning. The mood changed. It became very aggressive towards the police.
After a long and difficult day, Simon's shift was nearly over. But a last-minute incident would have devastating consequences.
We were sat in the van waiting to go. I think we were just relieved to finish. When a member of the public came running up to our van, banged on the side of the door, and we opened the door, and my dad's getting assaulted back in the crowd in the front of the dance tent. We get to this guy, he's surrounded by the biggest crowd I've ever seen. We were right in the middle of the crowd. There was dance music blaring out from the dance stage, so you can imagine you can't hear yourself think, let alone listen to this radio. We were talking to this man's father to establish what happened, and he basically said that everybody had taken a bit of a punt at him and hit him and what have you. So identifying the suspect was nigh on impossible. And the son then turned at me and became extremely aggressive, swearing and being abusive and shouting at me, and I was like trying to calm him down. After a couple of minutes of his abuse, I decided I wasn't going to take any more of it and just grabbed hold of him with the intention of moving him out of the crowd, taking him to the police compound and taking him away from there. However, as soon as I laid hands on him, I felt a blow across the back of my head and I was knocked unconscious. When I regained consciousness, he was underneath me and he was fighting and kicking and gouging, and the crowd surrounded us and I couldn't see anything but feet and hands and arms and kicks and punches. The crowd got a bit closer, they started chucking cans, bottles at us. The old kick, the old punch would come out. At that point, I was urinated on by someone. There are no words I can use to describe that. Humiliating, yes, it was. It was disgusting, and it was quite possibly the worst thing that I've ever had done to me. And then from somewhere in the crowd, we were sprayed with CS spray. I couldn't hear anything, couldn't see anything. All I wanted to do was just hang on to my prisoner. The density of people, literally falling over each other to get us. They were tightly packed. There was no way through it. There was no way over the top of it. There was just no way that that was going to happen. So I had to stay where I was. I felt completely alone, at the mercy of a baying crowd that would quite happily see my blood. And at that point, I thought I was going to die. I said inside my head, goodbye, Ella. Because I never thought I was going to see my unborn child. And that lived with me for a very long time. I'd had several times in the job where I've been assaulted quite badly, and I've always thought I'll come out the other end of it. But on that day, I thought that was it. I thought my 9 lives had run out. Eventually, and it seemed like a dog's age away, I heard the sound of two-tone sirens, which means there was someone coming to help us. And the crowd cleared, and I was grabbed hold of by the back, and it was my skipper who put me on board the van, and we were driven off to the police post, which is literally sort of seconds away. I can see it like it was yesterday, but I've got to be grateful for the fact that on leaving the police, I received quite a substantial amount of trauma counselling, which helped me deal with things like this.
Although Simon was struggling with PTSD, his career was flourishing, and he received numerous commendations for his work. But after attending countless more harrowing scenes, his nightmares and flashbacks became worse and more frequent.
Just before Poppy was born, so in 2011, that's when he really started suffering really badly with the symptoms of PTSD, and sort of since then it's really been quite a roller coaster of sort of symptoms and conditions, really.
It just made me cautious. At times it made me aggressive because I didn't want to go through the things I'd been through again. I'd sweat, I'd shake, any loud noise would trigger me. My cortisol, my sort of fear chemical was so much in my brain that I was in fight or flight all the time. There was never any rest.
In 2014, Simon realised he couldn't carry on like this, and once again went to see a psychiatrist.
He diagnosed me with severe and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Then the only complexity being the amount of exposure I've had to traumatic incidents. It all began to disintegrate. The day I broke, I got to work after being advised not to go in, and something happened at work. And I just marched up to the inspector's office and said, I don't want to be a cop anymore. And he was a very kindly man, sort of sat me down, wrote a report and said, basically sent me home. So I don't expect to see you again. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done, because I loved being a police officer so much. It was my entire life.
Andy Roebuck is the chair of Avon and Somerset Police Federation and has become good friends with Simon since hearing about what he's been through.
How's it all going?
I'm all right, mate, yeah, not too bad.
Simon's a great person, and I think he has a real story to tell.
It's going all right, touch wood.
There's things in there that can happen to anyone within the police. We've got to learn from that, because I have to be honest, I think as an organisation we've made mistakes. I would like to think that if Simon was in those positions that he was those few years ago, that actually now he wouldn't have had to be shown the door.
Yeah,
We've missed an opportunity. You know, we've got a really passionate guy who wants to be a police officer, who was doing all sorts of wonderful things, who was proactive, who was keen, enthusiastic, who was known as Mudger, who would go out and make those arrests, and that's what people want, as far as, or one of the things that people want as police officers, and probably as an organisation we took our eye off of that. We have to make sure that people like Mudger don't fall through the net again. You know, if they are broken, let's repair them. Let's take responsibility to build them and make them and their family a better, stronger unit.
When you're a police officer, you have standing in the community. You can do things, you can help people, you can have an impact. All of a sudden, you go from that to civilian, and it's like, I grieved it. I miss it desperately. I miss it desperately.
Later, we see how Simon's adjusting to life outside the police.
I think Dad is the bravest dad in the world. If Dad gets anxious, I'm just going to say to him that I'm going to be always here for him.
They are the reason I still push on every day.
Assaults and attacks aren't the only way police officers are injured or put in danger. In this clip, 2 officers from the Metropolitan Police are on duty when they're alerted to a fire near flats behind commercial premises. Without hesitating, the officers rush in to warn residents of the nearby fire that's quickly spreading towards their homes. As the officers force entry to the flats, they're engulfed in smoke.
OK, knock on all the doors of the houses, get people to go.
A brave member of the public comes to assist, and all 3 work tirelessly to move the residents to safety.
Anyone in there? Get out!
Thanks to their actions, all occupants are safely evacuated. Some are treated for smoke inhalation by London Ambulance Service.
Everybody out, leave them.
London Fire Brigade arrive at the location and quickly get the fire under control, leaving only minor damage to the residents' homes. The 2 officers are also treated at the scene for smoke inhalation. Both officers and the member of the public who assisted them are praised for their quick-thinking actions, which meant no one was seriously injured. Neither officer was seriously harmed, and both went straight back out on duty. Kent Police Chief Constable Alan Pewsley is spending the day with his dedicated team who tackle county lines drug crimes.
There's a mixture of investigators, disruption officers, intelligence officers and research officers. They're a fantastic team and I'm going to increase the strength of them. It's a growing problem. We have got a good grip of it, but this is something that I will not allow to fester in our communities. These sort of criminals will have no thought, no reservation about injuring my officers. They have no thought about putting a knife through my officers, in my view. So we train them, we skill them, we equip them, and it's one reason that this force, any frontline officer dealing with these people, has the opportunity to be trained in Taser.
Today, the team is aiming to track down one suspected county lines dealer in particular.
The way a county line works is there's somebody at the top of the line who gets lots of foot soldiers to do their dirty work on the street. So we can take the foot soldiers out every day and they get replaced by other foot soldiers. We go at the top. We go to the head of the county line, take the head off the snake, so to speak, and just take that county line drug dealer out completely. That's who we're after today.
The Wesley network is in the top 4 of our county line in Kent. At this address, a Nokia burner phone was located and subsequent checks revealed new evidence that he was, in fact, in control of the Wesley line.
The team is attending a briefing on the individual they are targeting today as they prepare to arrest and charge the male based on intelligence they have received that he's running a known county line.
Just to make you aware, boss, our guys are aware, officer safety warnings. He's previously assaulted police and he's known to carry a knife when drug dealing. There's also intelligence that he's previously carried a small hammer in his waistband. OK, so just make sure you've got your kit on you and be safe.
Ready to go and get him. Yeah. These county line drug dealers, violence is routine for them, carrying weaponry is routine for them. So we're going to an address today to try and find a county line drug dealer, a very violent individual. He needs apprehending, he needs arresting, and we need to take this dangerous man off the streets.
Hello there, it's the police. A quick word, don't worry about. It's the police. Open the door, please.
The man they've been hoping to catch is at the address. They've arrested and handcuffed him and will now escort him back to the station for questioning. But he's not about to go quietly.
Calm down. Stop tensing up. Stop tensing up. Stop tensing up. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You can see all day long, you know, he's under arrest, he's handcuffed, you can see how violent he's got, and it's a pretty controlled situation, but still a very violent individual. That's what they're dealing with all the time. Every single day that we're dealing with county line drug dealers, that's what we're dealing with. Great work, my officers again.
So there were 2 phones, which have got a PIN code, but we'll obviously download this phone and see what comes of it, really. And that, I believe, is his personal. But we'll take him back. He's getting a bit fruity, so I'll go. It's fine. Yeah?
Get off of me, you're not taking
So,
me!
they now think you're going to search the address because we can search the address because he's been arrested, playing up like mad, as you can hear.
Do you want to jump in, Chief?
Okay.
It's been a successful day for the team. They've caught and arrested a suspected drug dealer.
Today's been really successful. We wanted to arrest a significant county line drug dealer, and we have arrested him. Equally important, none of my officers were injured, but he did afford some violence. He was aggressive, but the verbal aggression didn't turn into any assault on my officers today. But yeah, he's been arrested. Really successful.
That way. You don't want a problem.
There's no hiding place for these criminals down in Kent. He wants to carry on drug dealer on the streets without being confronted. Well, he's not going to do that in Kent. This team will confront him and they will arrest him as they did today. He's downstairs in the cells now and he'll be interviewed later by my detectives.
The offender was charged with being concerned in the supply of heroin and crack cocaine. He subsequently pleaded guilty and is currently awaiting sentencing. Chief Constable Pewsley is keen to raise awareness of what his officers deal with on a daily basis.
When you look at dealing with crime, it's probably about 1/3 of what we deal with. The other 2/3 are calls for help, keeping people safe, looking after the vulnerable, mental health issues, missing children, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So actually fighting and dealing with crime is probably about 1/3 of what we do. The rest of it is protecting and keeping people safe in a hugely, hugely broad way. What I would like the public to know more of is see the violence that is afforded to my officers, the vitriol that is afforded to my officers, the abuse they face on a daily basis, and the completely brilliant professional way they deal with it. When they've seen that, they will understand what a fantastic, challenging, rewarding, but difficult job we face. And we only do it for one reason: keep the public safe.
Police officers are often faced with terrifying situations. They have to make quick decisions to prevent incidents from spiralling out of control. In this CCTV footage, 2 thieves are seen robbing a shop in South Yorkshire. The criminals are trying to steal alcohol and cigarettes. A brave officer, PC Del Owen, tackles one of the criminals to the floor and sprays him with barber spray. The accomplice is seen taking a machete out of his coat and hiding it behind a refrigerator screen. Within moments, he's apprehended by PC Ben Hawley. Both officers were acknowledged for their tremendous bravery during the failed raid. One offender pleaded guilty to aggravated burglary and possession of a blade. He was jailed for 3 years and 4 months. The other pleaded guilty to a single charge of aggravated burglary in connection with the incident. He was jailed for 4 years and 8 months.
Here, fella.
Back in Somerset, Simon Mudge is learning to cope with a very different life outside of the police force, with the support of his loving family.
I mean, I'm better than I was. I am better than I was, and I've got techniques that I use to ground myself when things get on top. I have to have a routine. I clean the house, I take the kids to school. Any change in my routine really upsets me. Little victories for me is going training. I weight train twice a week. Just increasing the weight you can lift or having a good session. That's a win for me. Watching my girls grow up, and become young ladies is you know, a huge one for me. Yeah, they do take care of me, and they mean the world to me, all of them.
That's good. Now I'm going to drive a car.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think mainly is my wife providing a steady life, steady and stable environment for us all.
I have to remember that it's not personal. So his PTSD is not about me, it's not about our relationship, it's about what he's experienced previously. So I do have to remember that, because sometimes he can get quite personal. If he's in that place where he's feeling really low and his emotions are sort of taking him over, or he's having a flashback, it's not about me, it's about the trauma. Ultimately, I love Simon, and I have always loved him, and you know, it is now part of who he is. It's part of the man that, you know, I spend my life with.
Happy now? I've been honest with the girls, because Poppy's 8 now, Lily's 10, Ella's 16, so I've explained to them all that I have PTSD, that sometimes, you know, I'll be a bit moody or a bit down.
We don't tell them everything. I don't believe children need to know everything, but they do understand that Daddy is different to other daddies.
And this is your life. This is your menstrual state. This is Mum, Polly, Poppy. This is me. This is someone you arrested. This is your pill, your weights, and your police helmet.
It's so insightful of the girls, you know, and so thoughtful. I love it. What they do is really special. You know, it just goes to show how much they think about things.
Now that I'm 10, I know what actually is going on, and I love Daddy so much. He's the best dad I could ever want. I don't know what I would do without him. He's always been a special dad, because there's no other dad like him. There's no one that can pull off a t-shirt like that. If something's wrong with Dad, then it doesn't work to try and hide it, because we will always know if something's wrong.
But you always find out, like we always find out when you have fish and chips.
Yeah.
You do always find out, that's right.
Find out.
For now, Simon is working on rediscovering his place in the world.
My hope is, as time goes on and as the girls get older, that he will realise that life outside the police service is just as important, and that he can have a fulfilled life. He's got a purpose that isn't just being a police officer. That's my hope for him.
Things are improving, definitely improving. I don't feel like I live from day to day anymore. For years and years and years, my name was Mudger. That persona carried me through the police service, but now I'm Simon. And it doesn't sound like anything at all, but for me it's quite a major thing. You know, I'm not that person anymore. I'm just a man, a father, a husband. You know, that's what I am. You know, that's who I am these days. And I'm more than comfortable with that.